Hello, everyone. My name is Laurie Pasteryak, and I'm coming here to you from the Fairfield Museum and History Center. So, I am the Director of Interpretation here at the museum, and that means my job is to work with the staff here, a bunch of awesome people, to create fun programs and events and exhibitions for the public. So today I'm actually broadcasting to you from a very secret, special place here in the museum. I'm in our secure collections storage, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about number one, a current exhibition that's on view called Local Heroes. And I'm also here to talk to you about this very awesome fire helmet, which is actually 100 years old. So it is from 1920. So, in response to, of course, the situation that we are currently in, which is, secured in our homes, I wanted to give a big shout out to our town's community emergency response team here in Fairfield. For the Local Heroes exhibit that's currently on view, we worked really hard with the Town of Fairfield Police Department, the Fire Department, and the Department of Public Works, and others across town, and our leaders about how they work together and how they work together in different scenarios, whether it be weather or other emergency scenarios here in Fairfield, to make sure that the town is safe and secure. And we know that they're working really hard right now, and they're probably not only have to work together with those that they work with, but also take care of their family and friends as well. And so we wanted to give a big shout out and thank you and appreciation to both the Town of Fairfield Emergency Preparations team and staff, and also to all of our medical response teams here in the local area. We know that you're working really hard, and we really do appreciate everything that you do. So in the Local Heroes exhibition that the museum opened in December of 2019, we worked with the town's community emergency response team to talk a little bit about how they work together to meet, whether it's in preparations, in direct response, or in any type of recovery mode. And we also featured some of that history of how that came to be. But we also featured histories from the fire departments here in Fairfield, the police department, and the Department of Public Works, and about all of the particular things that they do, whether there's a snowstorm or a rainstorm or a hurricane or another type of emergency in town. And some of the exhibition actually focuses on what you can do at home as a family or by yourself to help prepare and respond to types of emergencies. So we did post a link from ready.gov from FEMA that you can do at home today as a family if you want to actually create your own disaster response kit, which I'm sure would include lots of interesting things now that you've been home for a while, but also to talk about a plan just in case something emergency does come up and you need to be able to respond to that. So the Local Heroes exhibit is currently in the museum, which is unfortunately closed to the public right now. But we are, of course, active and doing all sorts of fun programs in virtual and connecting with you virtually here. But we hope to post some additional materials from the Local Heroes exhibit to our website as soon as we possibly can, so you have access to that information at home with you and your family. So, as we're here today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this fire helmet, which is, of course, as I mentioned, about 100 years old. This fire helmet actually belonged to a man named Clifford Beardsley, who was one of the original members of the Stratfield Volunteer Fire Department, which actually started in about, I believe, 1918, 1919, 1920, around that World War I era. And there's several volunteer fire departments in Fairfield at that point, and Stratfield was one of them. Cliff, of course, was one of the original members. So this fire helmet actually came into the Fairfield Museum in the 1980s and 1990s when we were the Fairfield Historical Society. And we did put together an exhibition on all of the fire departments here in Fairfield. So this helmet came to us here from the family, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it because it is quite beautiful in its piece, and there are some really interesting elements. And we know, and I know from working with the wonderful town of Fairfield Fire Department members here, uh, that fire helmets, I've learned, are incredibly important to firefighters. And this one in particular speaks to all of the elements of it that are, of course, associated with their work, but also very decorative pieces which talk about how, which demonstrate how important it is to a fireman or firewoman, and how it's worn and how it's decorated. And it's very meaningful to those people. So to talk a little bit about the design of the fire helmet, at the top of this fire helmet, there's actually an eagle, which is apparently very common among fire helmets. And if we talk about what an eagle means and what it symbolizes, we can think about what the American bald eagle means to the United States. So an eagle could represent courage, it could represent bravery, it could represent valor and strength. All of those things, which I believe all of our fire persons here across the US and in our community represent very strongly. They have a challenging job, a difficult job, and we know that, you know, an eagle does represent that here to us and to this person. The eagle is also made out of metal. In this case, it's likely brass, and it's very strong. So it's one of the hardest parts of the helmet. So if you think about how a firefighter has to enter into a burning buildings, that fire helmet is going to be very strong in its brim, right? You could number one use it to protect your head, which is one of the most important parts of your body with your brain. But you could also use it to take it off and hit something if you need be, either to break glass or whatever it may be. So that front part of the helmet is very strong. And the eagle, of course, is that representation. Sometimes on the front of fire helmets, there is, and most likely all the time now, there's insignia and information about the company that could be important to that particular firefighter. That could be perhaps any personal insignia that might be. And if you also think about the shape of the helmet as well, and the way it's worn on the head, if anything is kind of coming down and falling onto the helmet, it can hit the brim and go and run off to the back. So this is the front and this is the back. There's a hook here on the back end of the helmet that actually allows it to hang from something if it wanted to. And this particular helmet, being from 1920, before a lot of plastic and metal was introduced into these helmets and into the design, is actually leather. Leather is incredibly durable. It's generally waterproof, and it's also quite fireproof as well. This particular helmet, you won't be able to see on things, but I will actually upload some photographs after so you can see some of the details. But it's got this beautiful scroll work that's all around the brim here and all up into the head part of the helmet as well, where the head would sit in. So this particular helmet was on display in our local heroes exhibit, and we recognize that to use all of the other objects, it was really important for us to show this particular helmet. One, because it shows the history of the Stratfield Fire Department to a local Fairfielder named Clifford Beardsley, but also in the beautiful design and the particular insignias that are actually on helmets today. We do know how important and how precious these pieces are to firefighters in general, and wanted to make sure that we included a little bit of that Fairfield history into the local heroes exhibit. So if you have any comments or questions, please do leave them on the video. I'm more than happy to answer. I can put you in touch, hopefully, with a firefighter who can certainly answer your questions, probably more significantly than I could. And, you know, we wanted to, again, take the time to thank our local heroes here in Fairfield, medical and emergency response teams. We know how hard you're working, and we deeply appreciate all that you do. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them into the comments in our video feed here. My name is Laurie Pasteryak, and we're really happy here at the museum to stay connected with you on Facebook, through Twitter, through Instagram, and onto our website, which is www.fairfieldhistory.org. We hope you can join us for our future events, our virtual events, and please do invite your friends and family. The more the merrier here at the museum. Stay well, have a great day, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks.